Hello and welcome to Life After Lupus. My name is Andrea Lendy, sharing another chapter in my book called Life After Lupus, What's Your Autoimmune Name? We call this Sunday night story time, and I'm sharing with you some really intimate things that I did to get well. And tonight is one of those nights that you could consider TMI, like too much information. But I did a lot of crazy things to get well. Not crazy. It was a divine walk that I walked, God supporting me, leading me, guiding me through this whole phase. It's amazing when we are not well, when we are sort of in between this life impossible, not living type of a situation. Somehow the veil between us and heaven is a little bit less dense, and we can see into the spiritual realm a little bit easier than when we're just busy in life and going and doing our thing. And we might say, hey, thanks God, here and there, but we aren't really depending on him for every breath we take. When that happens, like I said, the veil is taken down, lifted, whichever way, just a little bit, so we can see a little bit more of the Lord. And he was close to me during this time, and he led and guided me. I mean, back 25, 30 years ago, who heard of naturopathic physicians? Not a lot. Chiropractors were just sort of gaining some notoriety, but I hadn't heard of actual naturopaths until I needed one. And then that started my journey to healing. And I knew it was my perfect walk. Now, everybody's walk is different in life. Everybody's is. We're all led and guided in certain ways, and they're just not the same. But this is my walk that I share with you, and I share it with the hopes that it will offer hope to people who may be ill and dealing with chronic illness, because there is health even inside of chronic illness. There is wellness that we can have even inside of chronic illness, and that's my story. So tonight I share just a little piece of what I did to start that healing process, and I did this for a really, really long time. And this is an uncomfortable topic, and that's how I start the whole chapter out tonight. But the chapter is Unconventional Methods. This is definitely an uncomfortable topic, but I'm sharing this piece of my health journey because it may help someone. The only partial relief I experienced from the severe abdominal pain I experienced was doing enemas. I continued to keep in mind the nurse at the naturopathic office had told me it was safe to do them for a period of 3 years. And they, in fact, after my appointment was over, the nurse had told me, we've had a lot of cancer patients utilize this method. It's just a method of cleansing the body and continuing to get the toxins out of our bodies so that they can actually start healing. We want to provide as much of an atmosphere of healing as we possibly can. So I was getting relief, and I continued on this journey. I saw a gastroenterologist at the beginning of the illness journey I was on, but was unable to get any relief even after all the testing was done. And I know I shared with you how I did the endoscopy without any spritz in the back of my throat to stop the gag reflex, and I was not sedated in any way, shape, or form. So I literally just got up, laid on the table, and he sticks this big hose down my throat. And we had to try it a second time because it didn't go so good the first time. I mean, I had every test you could name in the book. I had it, but to no avail. I mean, there was no diagnosis. They didn't know why my stomach was in the type of distress that it was in. I literally couldn't get a full breath because my abdomen just wouldn't expand. It was like stuck. So I was always, and it was very uncomfortable, not to mention just the pain that went along with that. So I was having trouble breathing. There was all kinds of pain. So these enemas gave me just a little bit of relief. I saw him one last time, the gastroenterologist that is, on a very unsettling occasion about 2 years into my work with the medical doctor that I finally did find after the naturopath. And the gastroenterologist warned me about doing enemas and told me that if I kept doing them, that I'd more than likely end up with a colostomy, a bag attached to my body, and significant pain for the rest of my life. that interchange just about unraveled me. But I had had this such perfect divine walk with God. I mean, my life wasn't perfect. I had tons of symptoms. I felt terrible, horrible. I mean, imagine waking up feeling like you have the flu every single day. And then new symptoms started. I mean, my hands were cold, my feet were cold, they were turning different colors, my eyes were dry, my mouth was dry, couldn't hardly swallow because you have this thing called Sjogren syndrome. I mean, all these things were coming up, and so, I mean, I just felt terrible. But I knew that I was on the path that God had me walking, and these enemies were one of those. His words really terrified me at the time, the gastroenterologist, that is, and I had a significant emotional struggle about that doctor's visit. But I truly felt that I was being guided on every step of this journey, and so settled my mind to continue with what I believed God was ordaining for my healing. Sometimes we have to do things that other doctors would tell you no, because you know it's the right thing to do. At the 3-year mark, I felt a total lifting from needing to do or continue with any enemas, and I stopped. I've never again had the need to perform one more enema. But it did give me relief, and it did give my gut, my intestinal tract, the kind of environment that it needed to heal. And my healing was one day at a time, one cell at a time. But I continued to give it the best environment I could possibly give it. I was a vegetarian, and I bought all organic foods. And even back then, you could just only find them at like a Whole Foods store, which for me was 20, 30 miles away. So once a week, I would make this trek to Whole Foods to get the kind of vegetables that I needed, come home, and I would take forever cleaning them because I cleaned them in a very specific way. And then I would prepare them. All this while I was working, seeing doctors, going, I mean, I don't even know when I look back how I did it all, but it was all so important to my healing. And again, I knew that the Lord was guiding this healing. And the people, my husband, he was with me on this journey, but there wasn't really anyone else who said, yeah, keep going. It was more like, have you seen a doctor at the hospital yet? What are they telling you? What are you hearing? Have you been tested for blah, blah, blah? There was always someone trying to get me to go another way, but I knew differently. And I'm thankful that I kept on the road that I did. And some roads are long, some roads are hard. Some roads we just have to have faith, and that's my story. I had faith long enough for my body to heal. And I'm thankful that I took that journey so that I can be well today and share with other people. Later, I found it would take more than just vegetables to stay well and be well. I also had to get the chemicals out of my home. I had no idea that what I was cleaning with impacted my body so much that it was doing. I had no idea that my toothpaste could make me sick, or that my shampoo could make me sick, or my cosmetics or my lotion. I just didn't know. And it's amazing that we don't know. Well, we just don't know what we don't know, right? That's just the way it goes. But when I did know, I could do better. And my body responded very well to that. So it's a combination of what we're eating. It's a combination of what we're using in our homes. It's a combination, to add to that, nutrition. And it's also a mind and spirit thing. So lots of things to pull in, but I've done it fairly simply. If I just know I have to eat a certain way. I buy from a store that makes their stuff so I can use it. I don't have to make all my own things that I use in my home. I know a lot of people do, but I didn't have to go that way. From that same store, I buy my nutrition. And then I also exercise a lot, and I spend time with the Lord. So it's all a body, mind, and spirit thing to be well. And one of those gets out of balance, and then the other one gets out of balance. Doesn't take long if we have a spiritual need for our body to start reflecting that. So we take care of our spirit. We take care of our mind. We think good thoughts. We seek peace instead of the chaos that's happening in our world. At some point, we have to tune out some of that chaos, I try and tune out as much as I can, because I want my mind settled on beautiful things, on wonderful things. And as I do that, my body is at rest. And that's what our bodies need to be well. They need rest. They need peace. I liken it to, there's been some people who've studied water, and then what happens when you add like different kinds of music, peaceful music or not so peaceful music, and what happens to that water. And it's amazing what happens when you have peaceful things that are impacting your bodies. So, body, mind, and spirit. And I wish you a great week and health and wellness. Thank you.